The Black Dahlia murder is one of the most infamous unsolved crimes in American history. A gruesome, shocking murder that has captivated public attention for over 75 years. It is a story filled with intrigue, horror, and unanswered questions. The name Black Dahlia has become synonymous with the dark underbelly of 1940s Los Angeles, a city of glitz and glamour that often concealed a far more sinister reality. Today, we're diving deep into this haunting case to explore the victim's life, the horrifying crime, the investigation, and the many theories surrounding the murder. This is the story of Elizabeth Short, forever remembered as the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Hyde Park, Massachusetts, the third of 5 daughters in a middle-class family. Her early life was marked by tragedy and instability. In 1929, when Elizabeth was just 5 years old, her father abandoned the family, leaving her mother to raise the children alone. As a teenager, Elizabeth suffered from chronic lung issues, leading her to spend winters in Florida to escape the cold New England climate. This was also a time when Elizabeth developed a fascination with Hollywood and the glamorous world of movies. In 1943, at the age of 19, Elizabeth moved to California to reconnect with her father, but their relationship quickly soured, and she was forced to fend for herself. She worked as a waitress and lived a transient lifestyle, moving between various cities and often relying on the kindness of acquaintances. Known for her striking beauty and dark hair, Elizabeth earned the nickname Black Dahlia, reportedly a reference to her love of wearing black clothing and the popular film noir, The Blue Dahlia. Despite her aspirations of becoming an actress, Elizabeth struggled to find steady work and often found herself on the fringes of Hollywood society. On the morning of January 15, 1947, a local resident named Betty Bersinger was walking with her young daughter through the Leimert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. As they passed an empty lot, Betty noticed what she initially thought was a discarded mannequin lying in the grass. But as she approached, she realized the horrifying truth. It was a human body, gruesomely mutilated. The body was that of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short. Elizabeth's corpse had been severed at the waist, a clean bisection that shocked even seasoned investigators. Her face had been slashed from the corners of her mouth to her ears in what is known as a Glasgow smile. There were numerous cuts and abrasions on her body, suggesting she had been tortured before her death. The placement of the body was equally disturbing. Elizabeth had been posed with her arms above her head, her legs spread apart, and her body drained of blood, giving her a pale, waxy appearance. The police were immediately called, and the area was cordoned off. The brutality of the crime and the deliberate staging of the body made it clear. This was no ordinary murder. The Los Angeles Police Department launched an extensive investigation, quickly realizing that the Black Dahlia murder would be no easy case to crack. More than 750 investigators worked on the case, including the FBI. They combed through hundreds of leads, interviewed dozens of suspects, and processed a mountain of evidence. One of the first leads came from a suitcase Elizabeth had left at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, where she was last seen alive. The suitcase contained personal items, letters, and photographs, but nothing that directly pointed to her killer. The media, meanwhile, turned the case into a national sensation. Newspapers like the Los Angeles Examiner and the Los Angeles Times published sensationalized stories, often portraying Elizabeth as a femme fatale rather than a victim. The public was captivated by the gruesome details of the crime and the mystery of who could commit such an atrocity. The killer, however, seemed to relish the attention. On January 21, 1947, the Los Angeles Examiner received a package containing Elizabeth's birth certificate, photographs, and an address book. The sender had also written a note using cut-out letters from newspapers, taunting the police. The package was signed the Black Dahlia Avenger. Despite the taunts and the overwhelming amount of evidence collected, the investigation hit a wall. None of the suspects could be definitively linked to the crime. The case grew cold, leaving investigators and the public with more questions than answers. Over the decades, the Black Dahlia murder has generated countless theories and suspects, but none have ever been proven. One of the most prominent suspects was Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy and eccentric physician with a dark past. Hodel came under scrutiny when his own son, retired LAPD detective Steve Hodel, claimed his father was the killer. Steve uncovered photographs of a woman resembling Elizabeth Short in his father's belongings and pointed to Hodel's suspicious behavior during the time of the murder. Further evidence emerged from wiretaps placed in Hodel's home during an unrelated investigation. In one recording, Hodel was heard saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They can't prove it now." However, no concrete evidence ever tied Hodel to the crime. Another theory involves a former mortician's assistant who confessed to the murder decades later, though his confession was inconsistent with known facts. Others have speculated about connections to organized crime, a jealous lover, or a Hollywood insider. Despite these theories, no one has been formally charged, and the Black Dahlia murder remains unsolved. Theories continue to evolve, with amateur sleuths and investigators revisiting the case to this day. The Black Dahlia murder left an indelible mark on American culture. It exposed the dark side of Hollywood's golden age, a world of glitz and glamour that often masked a much grittier reality. Elizabeth Short became an icon of 20th century true crime, her story inspiring countless books, documentaries, and films. Works like James Ellroy's novel The Black Dahlia and its subsequent film adaptation have kept her memory alive, though often blending fact with fiction. For the city of Los Angeles, the case highlighted systemic issues in law enforcement and the sensationalism of the media. The LAPD faced heavy criticism for their inability to solve the case, while newspapers were accused of exploiting Elizabeth's story for profit. To this day, the Black Dahlia murder remains one of the most infamous unsolved cases in the world. It is a story of a young woman whose life was tragically cut short and whose death continues to haunt and captivate us. The murder of Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, is a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of society. Her story is not just one of horror, but also one of enduring mystery. Despite decades of investigation, the question remains: who killed Elizabeth Short? Will advances in forensic science ever solve this case, or will it remain a mystery forever? Thank you for joining me in exploring this haunting chapter of American history. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most fascinating mysteries.